Excited to
That's
see
good.
it done.
That's good. We're going to get ready. Matt, would you just track the people coming in too? Because we got a lot of people signing on.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. This is just a spur of the moment. We call it a pop-up. So we had this notion, when we talk behind the scenes about what's happening in the economy. We're not going to get political. We're not going to go make judgments on anything, but we're going to talk about reality. And some of the reality is uncertainty. So that's why we're going to talk about this topic today. I got to tell you though, I lived, through many, many ups and downs in the economy. So the main thing is with the right mindset, positive mindset, and the right attitude, you'll get through it. I guarantee you'll get through it. This is nothing it happens. It happens. It's part of what the world is today and even years ago. So there's nothing new. My name is Joe Marconi. I'm here with Matt Lofton. Matt is he's the director of coaching for Elites. He's also a shop owner, a business owner. He was a former professional race car driver, so he has a pretty impressive past. He also worked with his father. You may know the company called Strut Daddy. Strut Masters. Strut Masters, and very, very very impressive company. So Matt's got a lot of background in business. And one thing about Matt, because I love working with him, on a one-on-one basis. When he speaks, you got to listen. So I'm really happy to have Matt here today with me. He's going to be giving a lot of good points of view and some good strategies. So take notes, please. Okay, Matt. So I just want to introduce you too.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
No problem. You may not know me, but former shop owner, sold my company in 2021 and started my career back in the 70s when I got out of high school in 1973. So this is the only business that I know. It's the automotive business. My father was in the business, so it's in my blood, and I'm just thrilled that I can still do this and be here to this day. So we got a packed house and a lot to talk about, so let's get going. And anytime you want to interrupt me and just say stop, please, please, please. This is your meeting. A good topic to speak about, so let's get going here. Okay, so a little bit about us. We're a company that lives by the principle of never putting money ahead of people. That's who we are. Anybody knows Elite knows that we are all about integrity, trust. That's who we are. We will never waver from that core principle. I'm not going to get too deep into this, but for those of you who may not know what we do, Elite does business coaching, management training, service advisor training, peer groups. And I'll get into that a little bit more later on too. So we do a lot of things for the industry. And like I said, I was a former client of Elite since the mid-90s before I came on board as a coach and consultant. So that's Elite. What we're going to talk about today. We're going to have a brief discussion on tariffs and the potential impact that it's having. And I'm not going to go too deep into it because I've been reading as much as I could, and I've been reading so much on it, and it doesn't end. I've been reading about this for days, and the more I read, the more confused I am because it changes. And we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring or next week. So, and I'm hoping that it gets better before it gets any worse. But whatever happens, we're going to deal with it. I guarantee you that. Then we're going to talk about the current economic state, especially consumer confidence index and the reality of that. And then we're going to give you some ways to thrive in any economy. So what are tariffs? Tariffs, and I'm not an economics major, but right now, the only tariff that we're concerned about really for today's purposes is the tariff that went in place April 3rd, which is 25% tariff on vehicles, auto parts, except Mexico and Canada. They have a different deal. And that's to start May 3rd. And I put down there, maybe. We don't know. That's a big maybe. We just don't know what's going to happen at this point. Like I said, there are many, many countries that are speaking with the administration right now. Let's hope it's for the good. China is out there alone. We don't know what's going to happen there, but the reality is we have to deal with what we have right now. So a tariff is basically a tax on imported goods from this coming into this country. It's kind of to level the playing field. We don't always know what other countries are doing in terms of how they pay their labor, how they manipulate their dollar, their economy. So to level the playing field, we impose tariffs. Every country does it. We've always done it too. And there's a known fact that look on the right-hand corner, on the bottom right-hand corner, tariffs is nothing new. Before 1913, we did not have an IRS. We did not collect federal taxes. So from the time of this nation's birth until around 1913, most of the funds, most of the revenue we got to fund this country were through tariffs. So it's nothing new. The way it's being used today, again, I'm not that guy to speak about. I do try to follow, but it's very, very complicated. It's also to protect domestic jobs, keep the money here, keep industries here. That's debatable how what went on and why is that so necessary today with the global economy that we seem to be so reliant on. And the obvious reason too, the last bullet point is national security. We want to make things here. That's important. World War II was very, very decisive for us because we built our tanks, we built our ships, we built our jeeps, we built our ammunition. We made our ammunition. All the armament was made here. That was a very, very important move. That was important because we were able to not rely on other countries, rely on ourselves. And because of that, the decades after World War II were very, very good for the United States because we dominated the world in the goods that we produced. Okay, how tariffs may impact your auto repair business. New and used car prices may increase. We may see some shortages on vehicles, not just one being imported, but even our own vehicles because of the parts and items that are made for American cars that are actually built somewhere else, in other countries. Part prices may go up, tires may increase. There may be some shortages on part brands. We don't know yet. Prices on auto repairs because of the part increases may go up too. Insurance rates may go up because if it's more costly to repair a car, insurance rates may go up too. And consumers, which is a good thing, will hold on to their cars longer, which they have been. That's been a trend for the past decade and a half. So, which is good for us, a very, very good indicator for us. Matt, did I miss anything?
No, Joe, you were spot on with it. Obviously, you're going to see some increase in some of these areas that that Joe just described, and we're going to talk later about what you need to do to pay attention to those and how it could impact you. But a lot of these are just as much as they're going to be impacting in a negative way. A lot of these are going to impact us in a positive way as well. So it's not all doom and gloom, which I hope is what we hope is what you guys take away from this today.
I want to piggyback on that. That is the theme of today. It's not doom and gloom. I'm not saying it's a walk in the park. I'm not saying if these tariffs remain in place for a significant amount of time that it won't have an impact. But there's other indicators which we're going to get to in just a minute. But your attitude becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you tell yourself it's going to be a rotten year, it will be a rotten year. If you tell yourself that there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you're going to do. If you tell yourself today that no matter what I do, my people are impacted, my customers won't spend money, my service advisors can't sell, guess what? They won't sell because of you, the leader. I'm talking to shop owners, managers, service advisors in the room now. Your attitude, your mindset, the way you talk to yourself is going to put you through. And let me tell you something too. That attitude will spill over because when it comes back, and it always comes back, it comes back with a vengeance. How you prepare yourself and how you work through this time right now, this time of uncertainty, will either be a benefit if you have the right attitude or a detriment if you have the wrong attitude. So like Matt said, the theme of today is we're going to give you some strategies. We're going to talk about this. We're going to lay out the good with the bad first. We're going to tell you what's happening. Then we're going to tell you some good things of what you can do. But your mindset, all right? Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the people that say doom and gloom. All you read, everything you read now is bad, bad, bad. It's not, I'm saying, a walk in the park, to repeat myself, but how you react to situations will have a direct impact on how you survive and thrive, and especially when it comes back. Okay, so current economic indicators. Consumer confidence has declined. That's tracked in the Wall Street Journal, and it's down. It really is, with a fear of recession. Consumer debt and loan defaults have increased. Recent effects of inflation the past 4 or 5 years has affected. Even though inflation has eased, a lot of the prices that have increased through the past 3, 4, 5 years are remaining kind of high. Some have come down, but that affected the consumer buying power. So that's indicated we can't ignore. Higher interest rates. We're all hoping that interest rates will come down, a little bit. They have a little bit, but they need to come down even more. The U.S. gross domestic product has slowed up, which is an indicator that we're not producing as much as we should be producing. Hopefully, when this all turns around and industry and jobs come back to this country, and if the plan does work, the GDP should go up too. We all know about the labor shortage. Even with very, very low unemployment levels, we still have a labor shortage of quality people, quality technicians, and quality service advisors too. So that's going to be a factor. And negative media coverage. Sometimes it's better to turn the TV off or don't read the news, because it's going to put you in a free fall. So just be careful what you read, and read it with an open mind. Matt, what did I forget? Anything?
No, you didn't forget anything. I think the really important thing for us I think the biggest factor that we're seeing in our industry right now is just that consumer confidence has declined. The negativity is being pushed out in the news media and social media. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're getting your news from. The fear is still there, and the uncertainty is still there. And what you're seeing is the consumer is tightening up as a result of that. And whether you're in an area where that's affecting car count, because we're seeing shops being affected in different ways. Some places it's lower car count. Some places it's just the ARO is dropping down. The closing percentages, people are choosing to defer those services out. But I think that if you're in a place where the car count's dropping down, then the fear is probably high enough that the consumer base is not participating in the local economy at all, right? And at that point in time, you guys have an opportunity as community leaders, to be that voice of reason in your local community, to try to get the message out there that the bottom line is most of the United States, most of the citizens, so 93% of the stocks are owned by the top 10% of the wealth contributors in our country, which means the majority of what everybody is scared about right now, which is the stock market going up and down, it doesn't really impact the majority of our customer base. So the bottom 50%, which is described as Americans that earn between $35,000 and $150,000 of annual income, they only make up 1% of the stock market. So, but I would say that they make up a large majority of our customer base, right? And so if that's the case, then a lot of the fear that our customers have is unfounded fear, because a lot of this is impacting the stock market, but it's impacting Wall Street, but it's not primarily impacting Main Street yet. Not that it won't, it may, but the inflation that we're feeling right now has already been in place for the last 3 to 5 years. It hasn't gone up. It's already been there since COVID. So a lot of what we have here is just that first bullet point, which is just the consumer confidence has declined. So it's going to be our job as community leaders. It's going to be our job as service advisors and helping our front counter really communicate this and improve our relationship with the customer and help them overcome that fear and help them realize that, still the largest investment that most people have from an ownership standpoint in America is still their vehicle. And we still rely on our vehicle to get to and from work, to get to and from all of our social events. And it's still probably the most important asset that we own outside of a home, if we own a home. But home ownership is also down in America. So vehicle ownership is really encroaching on home ownership as the largest asset that Americans own. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about. But that first bullet point, I think, really sums everything up. The rest of it is, is symptoms. The debt, the debt and the loan and the loan defaults is a problem. Credit card debt in America has been an issue for the last couple of years, but I think by and large, that's been there for the last couple of years as well. What's not there now is the same confidence that everything's going to be okay next week.
Great points, Matt. Thank you. Thank you. Great points. All right. So what to expect from your customers? First of all, a lot of uncertainty and confusion. They don't know what's going on. And no one in this virtual room, can predict what's going to happen tomorrow and next week either. So confusion. We're going to talk about how to work around these bullet points in just a minute, but it's important to understand what's happening in the consumer's mind. Price sensitivity. Because of what's happening here in the news and tariffs this, taxes this, they don't know what to expect. They're going to be more sensitive than ever when you give them a price. So just be aware of that. Again, we're going to give you a little bit of strategies to fight this, but for right now, it's important to understand what exactly is going on. Increased pushback, looking to defer work, looking to push it down the road a little bit. Any recommended work may be more difficult. I would really recommend not changing anything right now. We're going to give you some strategies in just about a minute or two, but don't change your way. Don't take your foot off the gas, because that'll send a signal that whatever you've been doing in the past really was not that important. Stick to the same things you're doing. Look for what's needed on the vehicle. Take care of the customers. Spend time with the customers now more than ever. They're going to ask questions, a lot of questions, and they're going to come in with a negative attitude. A lot of them will be. The smart ones maybe not, but you're going to find that people, the negativity that they hear about on the radio, on the news, what they read about, what their neighbors are saying, what's happening at their job, it's going to spill over when it comes time, when that check engine light comes on their car and they're in front of you and you got to sell them a $2,000 catalytic converter. So it's going to be a little more difficult these days. Okay, positive. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm loving positive all the time. I'm a positive person. I want to turn it around. I always want to see the good, because like I said earlier, if you just focus on the bad and you focus on what you can't do and focus on it's going to be lousy, all of that will come true. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. We all know this. Average vehicle age continues to rise. It's 12 plus years, approaching 13 years old. That means there are cars on the road today that are well over 20 years. So that's, to me, it's an opportunity. COVID, in spite of all the bailouts and the SBA and the payroll protection plan and everything else that happened, a lot of shops went under. They didn't survive, which proves that everyone in this room today survived. And that's great opportunity. You have the chance now to really, really stick to your guns and do the right things. And like I said earlier, you come out of this on the other side, you're going to be better off. Aftermarket shops are still the preferred choice over new car dealerships. Still, the new car dealerships, and they're trying with all the remodels, the remake, all the training, everything else. They're never going to get it the way we get it, and that's our customer service skills. All right. The high price of new cars and used cars means opportunities. Yes, used cars also will go up too. The law of supply and demand will raise new cars too. Consumer spending on repairs and maintenance has been steady, unlike the Great Recession of 2008, when people actually pulled back a lot back then. They had to, for a lot of different reasons. So the spending, when they have to spend, the reports have shown that they're still spending. Technology, which is a good thing for us, it makes it tougher for us in our, to maintain our technological edge, but it will continue to weaken the do-it-yourself market, which is good for us. The auto repair sector today is more resilient than in 2008. Why? Because most of you have lived through that, and the ones that are up and coming, you're a better breed of shop owners. You're a better class of shop owners and managers and service advisors. all of you in this room today, I tip my hat to you because it's a much, much better automotive world today, the independent aftermarket, than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago when I started, because it's different. You think like business people, you want to improve, and it's just a different animal these days. So, and that one fact alone should give everybody a positive outlook, and you should pat yourself on the back because it is a good indicator. And gas prices have dropped too. So these are all positive indicators. What do you think, Matt? Anything to add?
Yeah, so I mean, I think what we're seeing right now, and Joe, we've talked about this offline a little bit. If you guys think about what happened during COVID, there was a built up demand that kind of built up over that year that everything was shut down. And then when we were able to go back to work, full staff, you saw everybody travel, you saw the cars hit the road, and you saw demand just boom and blossom overnight. And all of us experienced a little bit of a tidal wave from that. And we've been talking about it at Elite now for the last couple of years. That wave is kind of dying down a little bit. But there's another wave behind it that I think is going to come. But what's going to happen here over the next year or two is that we're going to have to go back to the basics at the counter. We're going to have to go back to selling. We're going to have to go back at looking at our customer experience processes, our sales processes, our phone skills, and really put a focus on that. But I also believe that the average age of the vehicle is not going to come down over the next couple of years. The people that are looking for a budget repair, that go source that budget repair, that used to come to you and now they go to the shop down the street because they're cheaper. Well, we all know the risk of doing that, and that it's probably not going to get fixed correctly. That usually comes back to us, right? At some point in time, that vehicle is going to have to be repaired correctly to stay in service. And so I think there's another wave that's going to be coming, that's shortly behind the one that's dying down right now from COVID. But we're going to have the ones that focus on the right things, the one that focus on the counter skills, the one that focus on the customer experience, and kind of stay the course and don't panic through this. I think are going to be the ones that benefit a lot, like the ones that benefited from the wave of COVID, that kept their marketing going, kept their processes the same, and didn't overreact to that blip on the business radar as well. So that's my take on it, and we're going to talk a little bit more here in the next slides about how we can do that.
Yeah, you're right, Matt. Stay the course, right? Don't take your foot off the gas. Stay the course. I agree, 100%. Okay, so steps to survive and thrive. All right. Number one, communicate and enhance the customer experience. Now more than ever, the role of the service advisor is critically important. It has been. I mean, right now we're talking about the uncertain times, but if you think about it, in the past couple of years, we've talked about a technician shortage, when actually, I don't know. I think that we need to bump up our game as far as the service advisors are concerned. Most of the shops, especially in this virtual room, I know you're doing the right thing, but it's as a industry, we need to do better. And if you can right now bump up your game in terms of communicating with the customers, enhancing that experience, it'll do a world of good, not just for now, but on the other side too. No scare tactics, right? Don't tell people that, oh my God, if these tariffs come in place, you won't be able to afford that water pump in 3 months. None of that. Stay the course, all right? Offer options. I just read it, and I think it was Modern Tire. I think it was Modern Tire magazine this morning, that people, they're still buying tires, but they shipped it from the top tier tires to the middle grade or the bottom grade a little bit. So they shipped they still got to buy tires. So give them options, offer options. Be honest and transparent. And you know this, I'm preaching to the choir here. Focus on cost savings maintenance services. And if you can't sell it today, you book it for another day, all right? We can't sell everything today. If they come in for that check engine light, for that catalytic converter, and it's $2,000, and it needs also a 90K service, discuss it, get it back. I don't like declined service. I don't like that term declined. It's always deferred. If you identify something needs today, it's deferred. You talk about it today because you want to sell down the road again. So focus on that. The value, enhance value now more than ever. Value, when value goes up, price goes down. The perception of price goes down. When there's no value, the perception of price or the reality of price is forefront, right in your face. So do everything you can to increase the value of what you're doing. Follow up with your customers. Call every customer. Call your new customers. Send them thank you cards. Lost customer strategy. If you haven't seen customers over a year, generate a report. Get a hold of your CRM companies, whatever system you use, and find out why have you seen Larry Jones in over a year and a half? What's going on? He may have bought a new car, he may have moved away. You don't know. But right now is the time to really, really anchor all your customers that are in your database right now. All right. We spend a lot of money on new customer acquisition, but everyone in this room has tons of customers right there in your database. And another thing too, and those of you who've been to my Eagles class know I say this every single time. The customer's in front of you, right? You have customers every single day in front of you. Do all you can to create that experience that tells them, lets them know, we want you to come back. I want you to come back. If you do this, step one, really, really focus on this. Again, we got to get through this uncertain times, but you're going to be better off during the uncertain times and much better off down the road. Agreed, Matt?
I agree 100%. So, like we were just talking about the counter skills, the phone skills, going through your marketing strategies and making sure that, the branding image that you're putting out there, matches the experience that you're trying to, portray when the customer comes in the store, and at the same time, making sure that, not just offers that you have for different part option, but making sure that you have offers for different, for things like financing options. Make sure you have different pay options there for them, to be able to take advantage of. Obviously, inform yourself and inform your staff about what those options are and how those options work. So you don't get somebody in a bad situation where they have a 30% interest loan. But,
Yeah.
but if we had the ability to split the payment up for 3 months in equal payments, and that is helpful for somebody, that option is available out there in our industry, and it's something that can help our customers ease the blow of making larger decisions. And then, like Joe said, just, focus on having really good, genuine interactions with your customer base, making sure that, again, you understand what is happening in their world, and don't assume that they understand how they should respond when they come to you. And what I mean by that is they're looking at their personal budget, and their available income is shrinking. The price of eggs is more expensive, the milk is more expensive, clothes are more expensive, vacations are more expensive. They still need to get their car fixed though, right? But they're looking for ways that they can cut out of their personal budget. And it's one of those things that you're going to have to be more diligent at the counter to have those conversations and be willing to overcome and work through those objections at the point of sale. Because if they need a timing belt because they have that interference engine and they've already gone past the interval twice, what happens tomorrow when the timing belt breaks and the engine failed? Do they have the ability to go spend $25,000-$30,000 to get a newer used vehicle, right? If they do that, what's the cost of ownership of that used vehicle versus fixing this one? And so that's. And then don't do knee-jerk reactions. I know Jerry, when we were at Eagles a couple weeks ago or months ago, he told us a really good story about doing, partial repairs or incomplete repairs, and how he wished he could go back and how that bit him in the butt with a customer in his early days of owning a business. And so I think from a business owner standpoint, we kind of knee-jerk sometimes into thinking that we need to find shortcuts to reduce the price to the customer to do them a favor and get them to buy. But that's not the right way to do it either. So we need to hold the course. We need to make sure that we're providing value, but we just need to be able to, we need to grow our skill set at explaining that value to the customer to make sure that they get something that's worth paying for.
Yeah, it's a great point. Great points. Great point. Thank you, Matt. Someone circled be honest and transparent. First of all, that's amazing. Who did that? Okay. Can you see it on your end? Well, it was just highlighted, honest and transparent. So that's pretty good. Whoever did that, it's pretty nice. Anyway, step two. All right, we got 4 steps. Commit to continuous process improvement and training. This goes in without saying in every type of economy, but it's worth it to repeat it right now. Understand your business model. What drives what's called your economic engine? What's profitable, repeatable, and predictable? What I mean by that is we sometimes try to be all things to all people. And in my day, it was all makes, all models. But again, those of you who know me, I've said this a million times. Back then, when I first started in this business, we had 3 things that kept us in business: General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler. And those cars broke down a lot. And it was kind of easy to understand those vehicles. And they were kind of all the same in terms of how you would diagnose them, whether it was a starter problem, battery problem, charging problem. And back then, it was the early years of computerization, back in the late 70s, early 90s. So it wasn't that involved. It's not that way anymore. To be all makes, all models, to think you can jump from a Volvo check engine light to a Mercedes timing chain to a Jeep electrical problem. It's difficult these days. I know there are people out there who tell me they do. That's great. I'm not going to argue or debate anyone on this. But for the majority of people, to be everything to everybody is too much these days. Focus on your business model. What brings profit to the bottom line? Try to focus on those jobs, on those vehicles, and those customers. Right. So it's important that you understand this. And repeatable and predictable means we all know those jobs that we love to do. If we could do brake jobs all day long with lower level technicians, make a lot of money. Steering, suspension, tires, alignments. There's a lot of work out there that if we can do it again and again and again, maintenance work. So if you could be able to predict as best as possible and get jobs back that drive your economic engine, then you're going to be in a much better place. Start building now. Again, because when you come out the other side, you're going to be much more profitable, a lot less stress, and you're going to improve your productivity too. If every day is an unknown, that oil leak on that BMW, that exhaust leak on that Lamborghini, whatever it is, and then you bring in a Honda Civic and there's a check engine light, there's too many unknowns. Think about this. There's a reason why an early young technician can get very, very proficient and knock out brake job after brake job or tie rods or tires, because he's doing a lot of them, all right, over and over again. He develops she develops those skills that are, again, are repeatable, predictable, and very profitable. Just think about that. I don't want to change anybody's business model, but I think that when you zero in and you hone in on who your profile customer is, your business model, and the jobs that you can do over and over again, if you can do more of them, you'd be better off. We all have to do those unknowns, those check engine lights, those oil leaks. We all got to do that. I get that. But just pay a little attention to that. Again, you want to build for the future. Improve all your critical processes and procedures. Take a look at all this, your workflow processes, your road test process, the repair processes, scheduling, phone calls, the entire customer process from customer write-up, the intake process, to vehicle delivery. What does it look like? Anytime you can lean it out, reduce steps, make it more efficient, it reduces stress, makes everybody happier, and it does add to the bottom line. Perfect time to do it is right now. The first time customer process, all the customer touch points, your follow-up process, that is critical. I would really, this time in these times of uncertainty, I would follow up with all my customers, especially the first-time customers. Make sure you wow them to a point. Remember, the goal of every first-time customer is to wow them, yes, but they have to come back 2-3 times to become what we call a legacy customer, a real customer, a loyal customer. So we got to what can you do? Think about it in your business model. What can you do to get that customer to come back? What offering? What the next appointment? Look at things. Think out of the box. You got to get the goal of every new customer, first-time customer, is to get them back 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. They're not customers when they come back 2, 3, 4 times. Very, very important. And obviously build quality into the workflow process. Build quality. What do you think, Matt? What do you got to add?
So the improve the critical processes and procedures there, and in the chat there, I asked, kind of what everybody's seeing is, whether it's car count or ARO that's going down, because depending on where you're at and what your current business model is, it's been either or, right? We've either seen a decrease in ARO or we've seen a decrease in car count. So, and overwhelmingly, there's a lot of people that are at this point in time that are seeing a decrease in car count from what we're seeing. The improving your critical processes here, as far as, looking at your, going over your phone calls. Please, if you're not doing phone call recordings and you're not doing phone call audits, audit your phone calls. Listen to the incoming phone calls that are coming in. You're going to be, it'll get your blood pressure up, but it's it's a necessity, right? And nobody's perfect. But the idea there is that you have to create processes and procedures that allow car count to happen. Again, through the COVID years, we got slammed with broken cars, and a lot of us created processes that were barriers to new customers or barriers to smaller jobs, right? We decreased waiters. Everything had to be a drop off. Everything had to be, we eliminated a lot of the preventative maintenance stuff just because we had so much broken car work to do over the last couple of years. And I'm not suggesting that we go back to 10 people waiting in the waiting room. I don't want to, don't be the thermostat that goes too far. But we need to take a look at some of those jobs. Like Joe said, every vehicle to us is an opportunity for discovery, and we need to, the discovery is more important to us than that small job is. So if you have, again, we talked about customers in our area, the budget's tightening up and they're looking for ways that they can save on money. The bottom line is the same amount of people are driving. They're driving the same amount of distance. So if that's the case, then they're still getting their oil changed. They're still getting their tires rotated. What they are doing is they're shopping that commodity service around. And so, you're going to have to have really strong phone skills. You're going to have really strong marketing strategies right now to make sure that we don't lose out some of our previous customer base or our new customers that could be coming in to, to a commodity competitor that has a lower offer or a different offer out there, and we lose out on that. The follow-up through the CRM process is super duper important. I don't know who keeps highlighting everything, but thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I love it.
But yeah, so I mean, the follow-up through the CRM process is incredibly important. A lot of us pay for these, for these services to come in. We're paying a couple $100 a month, and it amazes me because we don't see it used as productively and as consistently as it should be used. We wait until we get slow and then we send out like a slow day text blast, right? But we need to be staying on top of that customer base on a regular basis. And then again, just make sure that if we do have quality processes and procedures, that we're monitoring them, because I think it was Bill Gates that said success is a terrible teacher. And it really is. We don't learn anything through success. So when we have those good years and everything's flooding to us, it's really, really easy for us to get lazy on the processes and on the accountability and on growing the skill set, of the customer interaction. So, those of you that are, experiencing car count, the very first thing we need to do is start listening to those inbound phone calls and making sure that we're not carrying over some of the habits that we had when we were super busy into the times that we have now, and saying no to opportunities that we could be taking in.
Yeah, excellent. And whoever's doing the little doodling on my slides, I love it. So keep doing it. Okay, step three, build a winning team. All right, become more than just a boss, become a leader constantly. And these are just basic skills, leadership skills for managers, seniors, lead service advisors, and shop owners. Constantly communicate your vision, your mission, your purpose, who you are. That means more to the to people around you than anything. You can't have happy customers or successful business without your people around you, great people around you. If you think, people will know me, I've said this 100 times before, if you think you're going to rely on your abilities alone as a shop owner, you'll ramp up and you'll plateau. Your business will plateau. You can only grow your business if you think it's going to be relying on you to a certain level, and that's it. Why? Because you have a limited amount of brain power. To grow your business means that you have to have vision. You have to have a mission. People have to know what is your purpose and everyone's purpose in the business. But to grow a truly remarkable business takes a village. It takes everybody collectively sharing, exchanging your ideas, your opinions, your knowledge, your strategies. Understand the employee emotional bank account, all right? Attaboys versus reprimands. Now is the time to make sure you praise more than you reprimand. And no, in my day, I went to a human resource class 35 years ago, and the ratio was 3 attaboys to every reprimand. That means 3 praises to every 1 reprimand, all right? Nowadays, it's probably 30, could be 300 in some cases, I don't know, but you had to put a lot of more attaboys in people's emotional bank than before. Learn what really motivates everyone. Talk to people. What do they like doing, on their time off? What type of jobs do they like doing? We think people are just all motivated by money, and we need money. Everybody needs money. I'm not going to take that fact away. But what truly motivates people, you may be surprised. Sit down with your people, sit down with them, understand what are their objectives in life. Looking to get married, looking to buy a house, looking to buy a Harley, looking to buy a boat. I don't know what that is. Maybe looking to move into a different role. Find out. If you can align the goals of the company, the goals of the individual, that's one powerful strategy. Make sure that when you create pay plans or revisit your pay plans, that you balance both the intrinsic needs and extrinsic needs. In other words, satisfy everybody's basic needs of life with a good pay package monetarily, but also balance it with other things. Like I always tell shop owners, if you're not making a component of their incentive, customer reviews and customer service, customer satisfaction, you're doing a disservice to yourself and to your employees. You have to have that balance. It can't just be all about money. Again, we all need money, and I hope, and my goal is that everybody gets to earn what they want to earn, all right? But it's more than that, all right? We've all heard the expression, oh, that technician left that shop to work in another shop for less money. Why? Because people don't leave jobs. They don't leave their job role either. Most of the times, they're leaving the manager or the boss they work for. So just think about that. And shop owners and managers, now's the time to really bump up your leadership skills. And this is something that everybody can learn. Leadership skills are people skills for all people, so we can all learn them, right? Bump up your people skills, leadership skills. Now's the time. Again, we're doing these things now so that when you come out of this, and even during it, you're going to be much, much better off. What do you got to add, Matt?
There's some great conversation going on in the chat right now. Some great points that have been made that I just want to, if you're not monitoring the chat there, Russell made a great point. What he said is, never use the term change when we're talking about, maybe implementing a new process or updating a process. Use the term improvement, which I think is great. It's, kind of his point there is people love improvement. They hate change. So, sometimes our vocabulary can make all the difference in the world when we're introducing that. And then Brett made a great point as well, saying, that the environmental disruption can be a great reason to introduce, those improvements or changes to the team. And, his point was, hey, we're making this improvement now because whatever that is. So these are great opportunities. These are great opportunities for us to look at what our processes are, and improve. If we're having car count issues, if we're having ARO issues, if we're seeing an impact, through the consumer sentiment right now, this is it's a great time to sit down with the team and show them what we're seeing, and introduce some some opportunities for improvement to try to get past that. And like Joe said, making sure that we're not placing the blame on the team at this point in time, and that they don't feel the burden of having to overcome the gap of what last year was, or year before last, to where we're at now. It's it's your burden, and it's your burden to try to help them through that.
Excellent. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Don't think that you're going to solve all these issues by just one or two meetings or talks to your people, by putting the burden on their backs. It's going to take the whole team, but the leader has to lead that team, and the burden's going to be mostly on you. Take ownership of it and move forward. Okay, the last winning strategy, all right? And this is in all economies. For sustained growth, maintain. This is how I started. I'm going to end it with the same theme here. You must maintain a positive mindset. Control what you can control and ignore all those naysayers. This is going to be a terrible year with what's happening. There's nothing we can do. If only the government didn't do this, if only the winter was, stop that negative talk to yourself. Talk to yourself in a positive way. Trust me, you keep doing this in a positive mindset, your self-fulfilling prophecy will go up instead of going down. Make sure, if you haven't done it in a while, if you're relaxed in doing this, make sure you have clearly defined goals. All right, that's a whole nother topic that I can talk about for another 3 hours. But goals are very, very important. Maintain your financial acumen. In other words, make sure you understand your break even, your labor and part margins, your expenses. Keep your expenses in check. What is your gross profit requirement? Know your KPIs. Don't worry about Tommy down the road, Larry up the road. Make sure you know what your labor rate should be, what your labor margin should be, what your part profit margin should be. It's different. I can tell you right now, as a coach, and I look at a lot of different P&Ls and profit and loss statements and a lot of different business reports. You're talking about general repair. You're talking about European heavy-duty truck, and other different business models. Your KPIs will change. They'll be different, and your demands are different. Plus, every business model is a little bit different in what the gross profit demands are. So you need help with this, get the help. It's very, very important. Now more than ever, look at your cash reserve. Cash flow is king, all right? Keep those account receivables to a minimum. I would look at your monthly expenses. Let's say your monthly expenses are $50,000 on average. I would make sure that I have a healthy cash reserve, or at least 3 times that, 150,000 in a secured bank account that you don't worry about, you don't touch. Just in case something happens, you need a good cash reserve. So look at your monthly expenses. What does it cost to run this place if I have 0 sales? All right, no sales. What does it take? And if it's 50,000, 60,000, multiply it by at least 3. And that should be the amount of money you have in reserve. That's going to be critical. Let's face it, like I said earlier, a lot of companies, not just automotive shops, they would have been out of business if it wasn't for the bailout, the SBA, personal payroll protection program. So we have to make sure that if something really comes down really, really bad, do you have the cash reserve to weather that storm? Make sure you really spend time. You're going to go through any major expenditure, a line machine, a tow truck, 3 new lifts, a roof on the building, whatever it is. And please don't listen to the Snap-on tool truck guy, the Napa tool guy, when they say to you, it's November, time to look at your equipment and save on taxes. The best person to talk about saving taxes is your accountant and your business coach, all right? Not the tool truck guy. Invest in training. And technology is at rampant pace today. So through technology and training, build a strong, positive team, all right? Matt, last words over here on this slide.
Yeah, I mean, right now, from an investment standpoint, if you're not investing in people, or you're not investing in getting customers, it's probably not the right time to invest in it. So,
Yeah.
Emerging markets, I know over the last couple of years, a lot of people have tinkered with the idea of getting into things like ADOS and other markets that might be coming out. Um, my advice would be, like Joe said, we don't want to throttle back on marketing. We don't want to make that knee jerk reaction, and we don't want to throttle back on improving the skill set of the team that we have, whether that's through acquiring, better team members or improving the skill set of the team that we currently have. Those are things that are always going to pay immediate dividends. Those two. If we can get more customers and we can do a better job of handling those customers when they come in the door, that's kind of where the focus needs to be. On the process side of things, on the budget side of things, it's, how do we do a better job of doing those two things right there? And then, like I said, just making sure that the positive mindset, I think, honestly, is probably the biggest thing. And it's the most difficult thing for us right now, because we all have that sense of uncertainty and we're all filled with it. Our cups being filled everywhere, with that negative energy. And I've been around sales my entire life. And the one thing that I can tell all of you is this: at the end of the day, the service advisor position is a sales position, right? It has to be a relational sale and not a transactional sale, but it's a sales position, and salespeople cannot sell in a negative environment. So if you're in any type of sales and there's negativity swirling around the industry, swirling around the customer base, or swirling around, the internal team, sales goes down every single time. The closing percentage goes down. If you think about your service advisor, if you have a technician that's having a lot of comeback issues, right? And if you ever pay attention to that technician sales, the service advisors will stop selling their recommendations because they can't sell it with confidence, because they don't believe in the technician. And so they're seeing that same thing right now, which is they're getting a lot of negative feedback from customers. They might be getting negative feedback from you. And I don't want you guys to build in excuses for them of, oh, well, everybody is slow. We're looking in our area and everybody's slow, or, nobody has any money, or this is, if you build those excuses in, they'll sell with that in their mind. And whether it's conscious or subconscious, it's going to happen. And you're going to be the loser in that. So make sure that you're creating that positive environment. Make sure that that you're setting goals that are realistic for them to attain. Make sure that you're pushing them to attain those goals, and don't accept the excuses and the negativity that you're going to hear from other people in the industry, that you're going to hear from social media. There are plenty of shops out there that are still, they're still being, they're still successful and still doing very well. The ones that are focusing on the right things, and they're keeping the energy, they're controlling what they can control, and they're keeping the energy in their own environment where it should be to be successful.
Yeah, I agree 100%. 100%, Matt. It's so critical, so important what you just said there about you, the leader of the shop, actually controls the mood. And sometimes, because it's natural, in uncertain times, we, the shop owner, the manager, we can become concerned. So when we see the service advisor, they couldn't make that sale, they couldn't sell that 60K, whatever it is. Our first reaction was, well, what happened? And they're going to ask you to pause on that a little bit right now. And I'm going to ask you to just look at it, turn it around. You're probably better off to highlight when the service advisor does make the sale, when they do make that sale, when they had a positive interaction with a customer, and then build upon that. All right, because it's going to be much more beneficial. If we only look at the bad, only talk about what didn't happen, didn't go right, it's just not a sustainable for the long term in terms of future growth. And again, we're asking you to do these things not just for now, but for the future. Okay, so Peter Drucker, who's considered the father of modern economics and business, said the best way to predict the future is to create it. So while there's no way anybody can actually predict the future, how we react to what's happening today and in all types of environments will help us create our own future. All right, any questions at this point? Any questions? Anything in the chat? All right. That's good. Okay, that's good. I just want to say one thing, then I gotta make my pitch for Leap, but you know, I always say this, that the independent aftermarket, that industry is an amazing industry. What each of you do each and every day is unbelievable. Think about it. I mean, we work on a variety of cars. We have to go through training. We don't get a lot of help sometimes from the manufacturers. We're on our own sometimes. We feel we're out on an island, but yet look at what we've accomplished. I can tell you, someone who's been in this industry for over 50 years, the evolution of the independent automotive aftermarket, what we do each and every day, is unbelievable. It's amazing. You need to give yourselves a pat on the back and be proud of what you do each and every day. It's nothing short of a miracle. It really is. There's great opportunity. There's more opportunity today than there's ever been. Take it with someone who's been around the block a number of times. You are amazing. So keep that in mind when you move forward. Keep a positive outlook, positive mindset, but you should also take time to celebrate with yourself and your team for the work you do. You keep America moving. You really do. Everything that is in your shop, in your house, everywhere, restaurants, it got there by some means of transportation. That's what we do. So just stop and think sometimes of the amazing work that we all do. Okay, so a little bit about Elite. We've been there for 35 years, 35 years, helped thousands of shop owners with lots of different things, marketing, financials. We have coaching, peer groups. We do service advisor training, and we basically try to make you live a happier life. I'm going to make a pitch here in just a minute, but to join us at Fly with the Eagles in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Many of you, I know, I recognize a lot of the names. Many of you have been to Fly with the Eagles before, so you know that it's a powerful, in my estimation, the best 3-day boot camp on the planet for shop owners and managers. We have shop owners that attend for the first time. Then they come back a second and third time, and they bring their managers, their service advisors, their foremen. So it is a powerful course. Gene, your hand is up.
I just wanted to say, I see a lot of people, slow, and our shop has been steady, never dropped off, but I eat, breathe, and smoke what Joe says. Elite and Joe and Matt, they're spot on. And if you follow the way of the Elite process, and it's not an overnight thing, you're not going to flip a switch. It's got to be something that's in your blood, you got to believe in. And if you do that, I promise you, your shop will thrive for years to come. You won't be in this roller coaster ride. These guys, Elite as a company, is just the absolute best. And I see a lot of my friends and people I know online. And so that's great. And call me anytime if you want to chat. I'm happy to speak with you.
Thank you, Gene. I appreciate those kind words. It means a lot. It really does, Gene. And Gene's also a coach, so he knows what he's talking about. He's a successful business owner, a coach, a great person, and trust me, he means it. You can call him. You can ask him any question you want. He's always there to help. Thank you, Gene. So at this boot camp, Fly with the Eagles, we go through leadership, personal development, time management, goal setting, understand your financials, labor pricing, part pricing, cost controls, recruiting, employee management, operational excellence, and exit strategies and succession planning. That's something new we added about 1.5 years ago. So I'm going to, if I can flip my, okay. So we're going to make you an offer today that you can't refuse. All right. You can't refuse. The normal price for Fly with the Eagles. By the way, if you're a client, it doesn't apply to you. If you're a client, it's included with your coaching fee. So you virtually get there for free. You just got to get there. Anyway, but for those who are not clients, and like Gene said, I highly recommend just considering this. That's the price. The early bird pricing right now is $699. But for attending today's meeting, And to register, if you register by the end of this week, that price is reduced to $399. That's a bargain. That's a no-brainer in my book. That's 3 days of high-intensity training that you will walk out of there with, guarantee with your head spinning, but you'll walk out of there with a plan for future growth. If you're interested, please, 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 I'll take a minute just to take a snapshot of that QR code, type in Elite 300 as your promo code. It will reduce the price to $399. It's a bargain. I'll give a minute and then I'll move on. So anybody wants to take that. By the way, you're going to get everyone on this meeting today will get a follow-up email, and this will be in the email too. So if you, some reason you don't get it, or you can't register, the QR code will be in the email too. I'll give you another minute and then we're going to move on.
If I could pipe in here for a minute, Joe.
Sure, Marcus. How you doing, buddy? Marcus,
Good,
how are
good,
you, buddy?
very good, good. Still doing the split state living thing, but you know, when I first went to the Eagles, a lot of it was about networking. And Eric Merchant, you know, we talked a lot about Duramax stuff, and he actually buried my ass out of a hole with a tool I needed. He actually flew it out right away. So I mean, a big help just on that was probably worth what the Eagles cost me, just to have that at the tips of my fingertips, you know. So
See?
Getting to know other people and getting other knowledge and learning from other folks. Gene was a big part of it too. You know, went out to dinner with him and we chewed the fat a bunch about business. And like I said, when I got there, I was burned out, didn't know what the hell was going to happen. The margins were going the wrong direction. And I can't say enough. I just went to a Napa event, started talking to people in an elevator. I hope you guys gained some new clientele, because they said, man, everything just turned around for me. Like everything's looking a lot better. And this last week was the best one so far in probably 7 weeks of training I had since Glendale. So it's amazing. You guys are amazing, and I definitely appreciate everything y'all have done.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Marcus. I really do. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you left there, you became a client. You got a coach, right? So very, very good. Excellent. Excellent.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And here's something Matt's going to talk about, because are you sure you're not losing sales from the people answering the phone, service-wise in particular? How confident are you that you aren't losing sales or even customers? So Matt has got this. He's going to talk about this. He's got this offer for you. Matt, a little bit about this offer.
Yeah. So, and you heard me mention it a couple different times. And for all of those that are experiencing reduced car count, you know, in the chat, if you are, please take advantage of this opportunity. Send me some, if you have phone call recording, send me some call recordings of some inbound phone calls that you have. This is a completely complimentary offer. I'll analyze the calls, review it, give you some feedback on it, and then try to schedule a time to talk with you and give you some things to think about and focus on about how you can, you know, use your inbound phone calls as a way to generate more car count. I don't care how good your car count is. I listen to my phone calls on a daily basis, and I find, and we focus on it quite a bit, and I find every single day, I find opportunities that we lose and that we could have done a better job of. So again, if you don't want to get your blood pressure up and listen to your phone calls, that's fine. Send them to me. I'll get my blood pressure up and listen to them. And then I'll schedule some time with you so we can talk about it. And then in general, the other thing is please, if you're having issues with anything and you're not a client, please reach out to us and let us know. We would love to have you as a client, but more so, we just want to help. And there's no reason that you have to struggle and go through this alone. Like Marcus said, there's help out there. We can help. The other thing that I would say is, if you are a client and you're struggling, you definitely need to reach out and let me know. But this is something that I'm really passionate about right now. And I feel like there's a lot of area of opportunity for a lot of us in the industry to improve, you know, what our phone skills are, and see a drastic improvement in our business.
Thank you, Matt. Yes, please take Matt up on that offer, please. So just to wrap things up here, everyone will get an email, a follow-up email. The slides of this presentation will be in that email. Also, the QR code, and please respond back if you want Matt to take a look at your phone call process or recorded phone call. or anything. If you have a question for me, for Matt, want to know more about coaching or anything, pro service, whatever it is about Elite, how we can help you, let us know. We're here to help. We're here to help. So, any last questions, comments, anything? Well, I want to thank you for taking time out today, carving out time to be there here in this virtual room. It means a lot to us. It really does. And like I said earlier, I mean this when I say this, give yourselves a pat on the back. Well, what we do is miraculous. It's really amazing. We keep America moving. All right. We keep the roll moving. So there's something to be take very seriously. And I do.
Real
Thank you,
quick, Joe, I'm
everyone.
sorry.
Matt,
I
thank you.
was talking, but my microphone was off, so you didn't hear me when you asked for more questions.
Okay.
The next
Okay. I'm
flight
sorry,
with
Marcus.
Eagles-
I'm sorry.
No, that was my fault. I didn't click the dang microphone on, so little challenge this morning, I guess. The next flight with Eagles in Grand Rapids, I know that
Yeah.
comes with the coaching, right? But do you just send it in, say you want to go type of thing, just through the QR code as well?
Yeah, there's a code. Ask your coach. You have a code that you
Okay.
plug in. I don't want to give it out.
Yeah.
But
Sure,
here's
sure.
here's the
Understand.
code. Yeah, but you can plug in a code and it reduces that price down to zero. If you're a client of Elite, you don't pay to go to fly with the Eagles. You
Okay.
just got to pay for your airfare to get there in the hotel.
Now,
All right.
next
But it's
question.
going to be in Grand Rapids.
Time frame. Everything's kind of hectic with my life right now, so I'm not sure till after the beginning of May if I'll even be able to make it out there. Is there a time frame where you guys like the registration cuts off at a certain point or anything, or just check with y'all?
Well, I would, right, yeah, we've been getting a lot of people signing up. So if you're thinking
Okay.
about, this was everybody now, if you're thinking about signing up for Eagles, I wouldn't hesitate. We do
Okay.
put a limit around 53 people, because that's it. Because after that, we really want to make it as intimate as possible, because the networking, like you said, Marcus, the networking is really what's powerful about Fly with the Eagles. When you
Sure.
get to sit next to somebody for 3 days who's going through the same things you're going through, that's powerful. So I would say if you're going to act on this, act sooner than later. But
Okay.
but don't fret. If you miss this one, we got another one coming up in October. So all right,
Okay.
October. So all right.
Thank you,
Right.
sir.
You're welcome. Any last words? Anybody? Anybody?
I just
It's been
wanna say
great.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you, Joe, and thank you, everybody. And don't forget to put more money in your advertisement as well.
There you go, Jerry.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jerry. Jerry's a faithful Elite person. If you cut Jerry's arm, he bleeds Elite blue, right, Jerry?
Yeah. I mean, the price, hey, Joe, with that price, I feel like going again. I've been in that class about 10, 20 times.
I know. How many? Yeah, you have, Jerry. I know. All right. Thank you, everybody. Matt, thank you
Thank
so
you, guys.
much. Gene, thank you for your kind words. Marcus, you too. Everyone, thank you so much. Have a great day. And remember, positive mindset. All right. What you believe you can achieve. All right. That's what it takes.
That's
Thank
it.
you, everybody.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Have a good day. Bye now.